to aid his political fundraising. An attorney for Greetings called the charge absurd and said his client is innocent. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
In an unsettling video released over the web this week, Buddhist extremist cell Kamathana vowed to unleash a massive wave of serenity and nirvana all across the West. Members of the group threatened to implement such severe measures as tranquil chanting, meditation sessions, and eye-opening koans, and assured U.S. leaders of the group's absolute commitment to engulfing Americans in complete and unyielding enlightenment. Here now is a clip from the video.
We will not cease until every city, from New York to London, succumbs to a state of spiritual harmony. Prepare yourself.
Sources confirm that the Pentagon responded to the film by ordering immediate tactical bombings throughout Tibet. And in tech news, the inventor of the Gromdar says he's determined to put a Gromdar in every American home. In other news, a woman who had almost formed a healthy sense of self joined social media, and an area man can remember exactly where he was and what he was doing when he assassinated John F. Kennedy.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday edition of the program. As always, you're invited here. Toll-free number. Should you wish to join us and talk about whatever is on your mind, you can do that. Our number here is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. The Skype username is lrn.fm if you want to call us there. And there's also our Discord on-air call-in line room, where you can sound better than Skype or the phones, if you want to use that, over at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
And Chris.
Coming up here this evening, if we get the chance, 46% of Americans apparently support government make-work jobs.
Which begs the question, what percentage of Americans have government make-work jobs?
Excellent question. We will dig into that when we get the chance, but there's something a little bit more timely, and that is a story about this school shooting, which I only seen the headlines about. I mean, there's just... It's tiresome, honestly.
But yeah, it is. They continue to pop up.
As I understand it, there are 10 people dead, 10 injured, and the shooter had intended to kill himself, but didn't do it.
That's my understanding.
Didn't have the guts or whatever to do it.
Right.
So he can take other people's lives, just not his own. And so he is now in custody.
The other headline out of that was he did not shoot people that he liked. So he intentionally avoided shooting some people because he wanted to make sure that a positive story came out about him.
Wow.
Yeah. So along with the shooting, the other headline, and I think this started with the Washington Post, which is basically 2018 is deadlier for school children than service members. So the folks over at Reason decided to delve into that headline.
Crunch some numbers
and see what they came up with.
Reason's pretty good about checking the media.
They are.
Claims.
So again, from Reason.com, today's tragic mass, and this would have been from yesterday, today's tragic mass killing at Santa Fe High School, which left at least 10 dead.
Apparently it's in Texas, not
Correct.
Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Right. Brings the total number of people killed in school shootings so far this year to 29. That's more than twice the number of U.S. military service members who have died in 2018, which prompted the Washington Post to run with this headline, quote, 2018 has been deadlier for school children than service members, unquote.
It's a good headline.
It is. Teen Vogue's Laura Duca tweeted their story, adding, quote, this is not what a civilized country looks like, unquote. So I'll continue with this. If the implication here is that being a student is riskier than joining the military, well, that's highly misleading, if not flat out wrong. As the Washington Post admits 5 paragraphs into the article, there are 50 million kids in American K through 12 schools and just 1.3 million military service people. And
so per capita,
yeah,
it's not as dangerous.
Yeah, not nearly. And out of those 1.3 military service people, not all of them are actively working in a combat zone where they're likely to get killed.
Yeah, well, what fraction of the 1.3 million is in a combat zone is the question. But either way, still that's very interesting.
It's apples and oranges.
Right.
The raw school shooting casualty number is higher than the military fatality number at this particular point in 2018, but when we divide the total number of people in each group, it remains the case that being a soldier is 17 times more likely to result in death than being a student.
Another important, I think, point of distinction between being a government school student and a government military person is, thankfully, at this time, the military is a volunteer organization, meaning there is no draft. People are not being forced into military service.
Right.
However, students are being forced to attend government schools. You either do as the government says, as far as like attending some sort of approved curriculum in a lot of states like California or whatever. There's all kinds of homeschooling regulations and private schools. Or if you're like most people, you just send your kids to the government school because you can't afford, or you at least feel like you can't afford the other options. If you don't, men with guns will come to your home. They will come to the parents' home, and they will threaten those parents with violence if their kids don't show up at school the next day.
You bet.
So that's one of the important differences is if indeed you're going to qualify these schools as battle zones, and I understand why people feel that way. It seems like a dangerous thing to send. Even their kid doesn't get shot to death, he could get bullied or she could get bullied.
Right.
So there's some dangerous things that happen at these government schools. They could be plied with, meet friends that are total losers and dope them up on whatever, and who knows what will happen. Get pregnant. All kinds of terrible things can come out of a government school.
Right, and it's not that those things can't happen elsewhere, but
they could.
But when you're forced,
they're forced to be.
Exactly, and the argument of is, well, you can just send your kids to a private school, you can just homeschool. The reality is, for most families, with the levels of taxation that we have across the country, that to again, suck out $7,000 to $10,000 or $20,000 out of what little they have left after taxation, it becomes impossibility. So, it was much more realistic 30, 40 years ago when we still were able to have one parent staying home and one parent at work.
So wait a minute, what changed, right, between 40, 50 years ago and now? Why do both parents have to be at work?
I think the Federal Reserve has a lot to do with that. I mean, when you inflate your currency to such a point that, and remember, you weren't really around. I don't know what year you were born, but I know what year I was born.
After you.
Yes. But we suffered tremendous inflation during the 70s after Nixon took the United States off of the gold standard. And, before that, we were still sort of pegged to gold, and what you bought didn't really change that much. Prices didn't dramatically change. But when you saw things like gasoline and anything that was transported, which meant pretty much everything, food, groceries, throughout the 70s, starting with Nixon, to the point where he implemented price controls and all these Keynesian ideas through the years of Ford and even into Carter, it was a bad decade. And that's when I remember my mom started working. She stayed home until then.
So the standard of living goes down when inflation happens, right? Because when the government is printing more money out, we talked a lot about inflation last night when we delved deep into what's going on in Venezuela, where you want to get a good example of how damaging inflation is. Go and look down there and see what's happening with hyperinflation.
Right.
It's insane. But, if you'd missed that show, you can go grab the download over at freetalklive.com. But the effects are similar no matter how extreme it is. So it's more extreme down in Venezuela because they're doing more extreme increasing the money supply, which is what inflation is. But it's across the board. If they're increasing the money supply, it means there's more dollars, in this case, chasing around the same amount of goods. Prices of those goods will then tend upwards in order to meet the supply of the dollars, but at the same time, wages don't tend to go up as fast as the prices, right? So,
correct.
The people who are working are getting paid the same amount of money, but the money won't buy as much as it once did, and there's your standard of living going down.
Correct. Another way to phrase it is the purchasing power of each dollar becomes lower and lower as more dollars are introduced.
Correct.
So to me, it's like diamonds versus grains of sand. Grains of sand, I got billions and quadrillions, and I can't even count. They're worthless. Diamonds, not so much. But if I were to suddenly, inflate the supply of diamonds, then each diamond's going to be worth less and it's not going to buy as much.
Correct.
And that's why a lot of people of a libertarian bent are going to refer to inflation as the hidden tax. This is completely created by government and by government agencies as a means of continuing to allow them to spend without care. They don't have to worry about raising taxes when they can just print more money. And the earlier you are in receiving those newly printed dollars, the better off you can be. So,
correct. So they're connected buddies in corporations.
Wall Street,
military-industrial complex.
Sure.
We're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts. If you want to weigh in here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. So a quick number crunching, and even as they pointed out here, the Washington, was it Times or Post?
Post.
The Washington Post admitted that if you do it per capita, as far as comparing military deaths and the number of people in the military and active duty specifically to the number of people in these government schools, which is much, much larger,
right,
it's not as dangerous in the government schools. That's not to say that it isn't risky in the government schools. So you should get your kids out as soon as possible, if only because they're being brainwashed by the state. That's the number one reason to get out. More coming up here, 855-450-FREE. Imagine this is you. You're working late when you get an alert on your smartphone. Your motion-activated Blink security camera picked up something at home. You pop open your Blink app and see the silhouette of a man peering through your kitchen window. The job of a home security system is to help stop crime. Get 3 Blink cams for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Blinkprotect.com/FTL to save 15%.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free, take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever you want. Live Saturday edition of the program, talking about school shootings versus being in the military, which led to a brief discussion about inflation, the standard of living going down in the United States over time. One of the reasons is because the government has debased the currency here and continues to do so by just printing it out as much as they want. It's Ian and Chris in the studio here tonight. Also want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. You want to do some Bitcoin mining, but you don't have the technical chops because it's a little complicated to set up your own Bitcoin mining rig. Let somebody else do it for you. In this case, Bitcoin.com's got a mining pool. You go to pool.bitcoin.com. You can choose which type of Bitcoin you would like to mine. There's Bitcoin Core, a.k.a. BTC, or Bitcoin Cash, a.k.a. BCH. It's your decision which one you want to get behind, or do them both over at pool.bitcoin.com. Once again, that's pool.bitcoin.com. Again, they take care of everything. They've got the servers, they've got the racks, they've got the the location, they've got everything, everything they need. They got the professionals who will handle anything that goes wrong. Whereas if you were trying to do it yourself, it's going to take some time to get into it. It's going to take some time to learn the ins and outs if you even have the technical prowess to do so. So for those that don't, this is a perfect option. For those that do have the technical ability to set up their own mining rig, you can also join the Bitcoin.com mining pool over at pool.bitcoin.com. As we go to your calls and thoughts, let's start with Les. He's in Indianapolis listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Les.
Hey, how are we doing tonight?
Welcome. You're on the air.
Say, I'm really interested in your conversation here, and,
Sure.
and you kind of touched a little bit on how the value of the currency was devalued. And I think you're overlooking one serious thing as far as, in particular, wages go. Back about that time also, there was something else that caused a real supply and demand issue with workforce, which I think drove wages down, and that was women entering the workforce.
It's a good point. It's a
And
really
I think
good
I
point.
think the women's movement really pushed it and propelled it. And if you have an excess demand or excess supply of workers in the ratio to demand for workforce, then wages are going to go down for everybody. And it wound up making it where people needed. It wound up at first women went to work because they could, and after a period of time with the devalued workforce, it wound up being women had to go to work because they had to, which is a different pair of shoes to put on in the morning. But I think it was a lot.
Meaning the devalued currency.
Well,
I can say in my mother's case, and this is the only example I really have to go by, but she did want to work because she was kind of a liberal woman. She wanted to help out in our family business.
Right.
But as the 70s went down, it was clear that they couldn't afford no longer for her not to work.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the order of operations here is necessarily correct, or if this is a correct way to something to blame, because whether it's women entering the workforce or whether it's immigration or people having babies or whatever, an increase in population doesn't mean that jobs dry up or whatever. It means that more opportunities are created. So I mean, if a bunch of people come into, whether it's women or immigrants or whatever, if they all of a sudden come into a marketplace and they feed into whatever existing jobs are available, right? Because somebody's hiring somewhere, usually. If they then snatch up all the existing jobs, well, new jobs will be created because those new people in the economy are people who want to buy things, are people who want to do things, are people who want to be entertained, are people who want, they have things they need in life. And so they create a demand in addition to a supply. So I think you're overlooking that.
Oh, well, no. I think there's that also factors into it. I will leave you with this one thing, though. I am a big proponent of homeschool.
Good.
And one big deal about women in the workforce, and my wife homeschooled my son. One deal about the women in the workforce, I'd like for couples to take a look and see what they actually make at the end of the day by the time they factor in paying for daycare, paying for all their expenses for them to go to work.
Sure.
Because back when my wife was working, she got to the point where she says, I can't go to work anymore. I feel like I feel compelled I should be raising my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That was years ago. We sat down and did the math on it. She was working a full-time job, making a good wage, and by the time everything was all factored in, she was working for about $1.50 an hour.
Yeah, there's a strong argument to do that, to have one parent stay home.
I think if anybody sends a kid to a public school when they have the means where they can scratch and claw and make sacrifices to homeschool them or at least put them into a private school, which some of them are suspect now, I think parents are doing their kids a big disservice.
Huge. Absolutely.
Get them out of the public school.
Les, good call. Thanks for making it. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, the mythology around women entering the workforce is the same one as around, oh, my God, immigrants are going to take our jobs. It's the exact same objection.
The biggest one I can think of, that is a very pertinent one, the immigrant who's going to come take your job. But at the end of World War II, we had millions and millions and millions of service members who were all suddenly going to be coming home, and there was a panic in the government and on Wall Street, and everybody's like, oh, we'll never be able to put all these guys back to work.
Surprise.
What'd you
have?
have?
Provides.
Market not only provided, but it was the boom that really lurched the country out of the Great Depression, which was still going on during World War II.
Gee, imagine that. You take a bunch of bureaucrats and give them the opportunity to actually do something productive, and those opportunities exist, and more will be created.
Unbelievable.
Over time. Let's go to Larry. He's in Indianapolis, listening also to WIBC-FM. Hello, Larry.
Yeah, hi, boys.
Hey there.
Like, we know what got the war coming out of the war. We rebuilt Europe and Japan. That's why we had a booming economy. But you talk about what happened 50 years ago. What happened 50 years ago?
It helped some companies. Some companies were very involved in that rebuilding.
That sounds like the broken window fallacy to me.
It does.
No, it helped America is what it done.
No, do you know what the broken window fallacy is? I bet you don't.
Yes, I do. What
is it?
You got one window. You got a house with one window broke out. Somebody comes by and see that window broke, they break another one.
Nope. That's not it at all. The broken window fallacy is the idea that destroying a thing and then hiring a person to recreate the destroyed thing is somehow a boon to the economy, and that's BS.
Yeah, I fix windows for a living sometime, but I've been accused of that before. But the thing about it is, Mark and Ian.
Mark's not here. This is Chris and Ian. But go ahead.
We have our downfall directly linked to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. We have political correctness because of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Now, anybody out there, I know you have a smart audience. All you have to do is go to pbs.org and look up George C. Wallace and get his speech, The Civil Rights Act of 1964, a hoax, a fraud, and a sham. And read that, and then you'll be able to see exactly what happened. It allowed colored people to come into the market. That diluted the labor force, and it also done a lot of other things. It destroyed a lot of black business and black people moving forward as they should have done if they would have been kept in segregation and Jim Crow.
Well, anybody who thinks the government is going to be able to create equality really ought to just look at history.
Right.
Look at the communist attempts over all the years. I mean, governments, they favor one group over another at all times, and even any kind of an attempt to create equality will always fail because people are different. Thanks for the call tonight, Larry. More coming up. 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. $39.95 and free economy shipping. Use discount code GCN and get an extra 10% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter. Get your Bug Assault today.
Healthcare reform is confusing, but whether it's finding an affordable insurance plan, keeping your doctor, or being able to afford needed prescriptions, navigating the healthcare system has become a challenge. Control your own healthcare costs and choices with Liberty HealthShare. Liberty HealthShare is not insurance. It is an association of self-pay patients who unite with like-minded people to share the cost of each other's medical needs. Neighbor helping neighbor. Learn more now by going to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. We're here. We'll take your calls about what you want, though on the table right now, we've been talking about everything from school shootings to inflation to the supply of workers in the economy. The toll-free number here, if you want to join us, 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you tonight, it's Ian.
And Chris.
Want to let you know about one of the zillion different cryptocurrencies out there. There's... well, not a zillion, but it seems like it is an overwhelming number of choices. Ever since Bitcoin came out in 2009, there have been a whole lot of Me Too imitators, some of them trying to improve upon what Bitcoin had originally done, and some arguably successfully doing so. Of course, no one's unseated Bitcoin from the top of the heap. But there are some exciting options down there, and one of them is Zencash. It was created in 2017, And I like it because there are voluntarists who founded Zencash. Now, arguably, Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin, was also a libertarian type, but we don't know who he or she is. We know who the founders of Zencash are. They've been identified. They've been public since day number one. And Zencash is actually doing great so far in just its first year, basically. They've got 11,000 secure nodes in their system, which means they're more secure than pretty much most of the other cryptocurrencies out there. They've got even more nodes than Bitcoin itself, as I understand it. You can go to Zencash.com to learn more about it. So again, they got the voluntarist founding, the pro-liberty belief system, and you can even read it in their white paper. So it was so important to them, they wrote it into the white paper. But on top of that, they've got some of the best technology out there, like zero-knowledge anonymity. So if you care about privacy and you care about freedom, you owe it to yourself to look into Zencash, do your due diligence, and learn more about it over at Zencash.com. That's Zencash with a Z, Zencash.com. As we go to your calls and thoughts here, it's Tim, listening also to WIBC FM in Indianapolis. Hello, Tim.
Hello. I really like your show. I listen to it all the time.
Thanks.
I'm a little disappointed that you fell for the same trap, comparing women entering the workforce to immigrants entering the workforce.
How's it different?
Immigrants add more consumers. Women entering the workforce are already here. They are already consuming.
Good point.
And the secondary and tertiary effects of that, women who are working are having fewer kids, and they're creating fewer consumers. So there's a lot of secondary effects that we don't even think about when we look at the first one.
That's a good point. I did overlook that.
An immigrant brings in 2, 3, 4 people, and they're going to be paying their own way.
But either way, did women enter the workforce because of the women's rights movement, or also perhaps because it was something that they needed to do or they felt they needed to do in order to get the bills paid because of the decline in the standard of living due to the government's manipulation of the money supply and other things?
That's not an easy question to answer with a yes or a no.
It's probably all of the above, don't you think?
Well, sure, but it started out, of course, as your previous caller was saying, where a woman would say, hey, I've got a little time on my hands. I could earn some extra money. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So they do, and the standard of living of the family goes up. And as the standard of the family, standard of living goes up and there's more money to tax, as you point out,
right,
then the taxes go up. When the taxes go up, it becomes more important to have that second income. So these things are chickens and eggs all over the place.
Yeah,
the women's movement enabled it. I think before it became that kind of a problem. Of course, I think the women's movement said, "Hey, you're sitting around doing nothing at home, to denigrate all the housewives of America. You're sitting around doing nothing. Why don't you go out and compete with men?"
Yeah.
But when you double the supply of labor.
Well, it wasn't a doubling, I suspect, but
of course not.
certainly.
I'm just saying, when the price, when you increase the supply of labor, and then you additionally legislate favoritism, and you legislate equal wage things, and you legislate all this other stuff, you're really tipping the scales, and that was never the intent of it in the first place. Those are the unintended consequences. And name me anything the government has done, other than fight wars, maybe, that they've done right.
Oh, they don't do anything right. not even fighting wars. I mean, they are just an awful group of people, and they need to go away. But unfortunately, we're not quite there yet.
Figure out how, and I'll be right with you.
Well, I think step one is secession. I think we've got to decentralize governments to smaller, more accessible organizations, because nobody can access the United States government except for the most powerful elite, the most well-connected, the most corrupted, the most susceptible to corruption. And that's just always how it's going to be. There's just no way there's no way the D.C. government's ever going to be reined in or chained down by the chains of the Constitution or any of these fantasies that people have about it, no matter what ideas they come up with. So I would say seceding is the answer.
The only thing that will work, of course, is just what you're talking about. The only thing that will work is smaller government, because if there isn't that much power involved, there won't be that much money involved.
Yeah.
Then there won't be that much corruption involved.
Well, you'd still be surprised, man.
I'm okay with smaller government if it's smaller government that's decentralized, but I think anybody who continues to have this belief that Washington We just have such an inverse set of incentives. I mean, they are not incentivized to do anything smaller.
Right.
That's the system, and it's not going to change.
The best way to get more money for your project is to need more money.
Right.
There you go. Tim, good call. Thanks for making it tonight. Appreciate it. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, even with smaller governments, like we live here in New Hampshire, that's where we're doing the show from. It's one of the smaller governments out there as far as state government sizes, and the amount of regulations they have is, fewer than others. The amount of bureaucrats per population that they have is smaller than other states. But there's still plenty of corruption. Yep. There's still plenty of, evil state things going on with peaceful people being arrested and put in prison cells. Even at the local level with town governments, you find...
I can tell you that firsthand.
Yes, surprising... We won't talk about that because it's still in the works, I think. But a surprising amount of... town-level stuff with towns with a few thousand people living in them with corruption in their governments there. But at least the good news is when it's that close to home, you have a better ability to discover the corruption. Yep. You have a better ability to isolate those people, to publicize the corruption, and you have at least a shred of a hope of some level of an accountability for those bureaucrats. And I think we should end the idea of coercive government altogether. But until people in mass come around to that idea, it's never going to happen. So there has to be kind of a renaissance for that to occur. But steps in the right direction would be decentralizing from the master state, if you will. Let's go and continue with your calls and thoughts here. John is in Tallahassee, Florida, listening to WVFT FM. Hello, John.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, great. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I'm sorry, I didn't actually hear what the topic was when I called in.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Okay. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on why won't somebody prosecute Hillary Clinton? They'll go after Donald Trump all day long for a year, but Hillary Clinton, she commits all the crimes that she has committed, and nothing happens. I'd just like to hear you guys' input on it.
Well, I think the Clintons are very well connected.
That would have been my answer.
Yeah. I mean,
not to say Trump isn't connected, but he's not as politically connected as she is.
Yeah, right? I think the Clintons you can look at as a political dynasty. Go ahead.
I don't understand. Does that mean that she's so well connected that a lawyer won't go against them because they're afraid they'll be killed? I don't understand.
There's a lot of rumors about the Clintons and people turning up dead from as far back as, the 1990s?
Oh, heck yeah.
Maybe the late 80s.
Go look at the number of people involved in the Rose Law Firm, involved in a lot of different people who worked in the Clinton White House. There's a surprisingly large number of suicides. I'm just saying. Oftentimes with a shot to the back of the head.
Because that's how people kill themselves,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
So I don't know if that answers your question, John. If not, you're welcome to stand by. We'll bring you back for another thought on that. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. I mean, it's not just Hillary Clinton who's committing crimes, right? I mean, there's all kinds of war crimes, torture. Now you've got a head torturer who's just appointed to the CIA.
Yep.
So, I mean, where do you start with all these corrupt goons in the government? More coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. Tony Wright is a perfect example of the power of DNA. The Innocence Project litigated for almost 6 years to get the court's permission for DNA testing. Tony had been incarcerated for nearly 25 years in Pennsylvania and narrowly escaped the death penalty. Tony's case, sadly, is not unique. Empowered with the unequivocal proof of innocence provided by DNA technology, the Innocence Project has litigated hundreds of wrongful conviction cases, leading to the exoneration and freedom for more than 180 people through DNA testing. Overall, there have been 356 DNA exonerees in the United States who were wrongfully imprisoned for more than 4,875 years in total. You can help support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry in the New York City Marathon by going to run.freetalklive.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you are able to take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Did you know you can actually watch this radio show? And you can do it for free, unlike a lot of the talk shows out there in sort of the national level where they want you to sign up for their website, and then you got to pay a fee per month to get access to a webcam. We do it free. You can just go to twitch.lrn.fm, and you'll find our Twitch channel there. Twitch is mostly it's a video game streaming platform, but we went to Twitch earlier this year after YouTube cut our live feed for some so-called terms of service violation that they wouldn't even identify. So out of frustration, I said, well, what else is there out there?
Right.
Because we've tried Ustream, we've tried Livestream, and they just rake you over the coals. They want you to pay ridiculous fees. And Twitch I think they've really done a great job. But I'm really happy with the quality. It's HD quality. It looks good. It sounds good. And they got some cool kind of like community things built in there. There's ways to support the show directly by subscribing to our channel, which is something you can do. If you've got an Amazon Prime,
yep,
you get one free Twitch subscription per month. So if you're not using that already on some other Twitch channel, you can use that on our channel.
And
that's
that also,
awesome.
Yeah, and that also gets you ad-free while you're at it. So
Correct,
it's a
ad-free
nice
on
program.
our channel. Yeah, exactly. And there's instructions there on our Twitch profile on how to do that. Just scroll down a little bit and you'll see those. It's pretty simple. It's easy to get set up. There's also the following option where you can hit follow, and that doesn't cost you anything at all. And then if you've got the Twitch app installed or if you sign up for the emails, you can turn your notifications on, and then you'll get sent a notice every time we go live, trying to remind you, hey, we're over here doing this thing. So check it out at twitch.lrn.fm. You can follow us there. We sure would appreciate it. We crossed the 300 follower threshold just this month. So
nice.
Thank you to everybody who's following us, and to the few and the proud who are actually subscribing to us on Twitch. We appreciate it. Once again, that's twitch.lrn.fm. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. You can bring up what you want. It's John listening also to WIBC FM in Indianapolis. Hello, John.
Hello, how is everyone this evening? Or is it still afternoon in your part of the country?
It's actually evening here. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, going back to the previous caller, I don't remember who it was,